Hello, welcome to Rando Tech Info, and today we're unboxing and taking a quick look at the TCL Stylus 5G. Now, I've been using my S22 Ultra here for the past few months, and I really like it, and I really like its built-in S Pen. However, it wasn't exactly cheap, which is why I was really excited to try out this phone with its sub $300 price tag. Well, it was under $300 until T-Mobile tacked on its $35 upgrade support charge, which meant the phone wound up costing me $333, but that's still a heck of a lot less than the 22 Ultra. You can also pick up the phone for even less if you are willing to add a line or take advantage of some of T-Mobile's other promotional offers. But even at full price, this is the most affordable stylus packing phone I'm aware of. It even costs less than Motorola's recent built-in stylus offerings. Also, just so you know, as of right now, the phone is only available at T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile stores. Even if you try to buy the phone direct from TLC, you will just be directed to those carriers' websites. Taking a look at the back of the box, we can see that the phone is packing a 6.8-inch Full HD Plus display, a 50-megapixel primary camera with 128 gigs of storage. And while that is the only storage option available, the phone does support up to 2 terabytes of expandable storage, something my S22 Ultra does not. My only concern with the phone specs that I can see right now is the 4 gigs of RAM. I would feel a little better with 6 gigs, but for the price, I'm not sure you can really complain. Some other things worth noting on the spec sheet is the phone has a 4,000 mAh battery with 18-watt charging and is packing MediaTek's Dimensity 700 5G chipset, which should provide at least decent performance with access to T-Mobile's sub-6 and mid-band 5G networks. The phone does not have an IP rating or support wireless charging, but once again at this price point, I think that is to be expected. Alright, enough talk. Let's dig in. So in the box you've got the phone, your literature with your PokePin device, an actual charge brick, something you don't see every day and definitely something you don't normally see with flagship phones anymore, and a USB to USB-C cable. The phone definitely has a good heft to it, although I don't think it feels quite as heavy as the 22 Ultra. This phone clocks in at 213 grams, whereas the Ultra does come in at a little bit heavier, 229 grams, but the screen size and the footprint is actually very similar. So if you're into bigger phones, I think you'll be into this. If you're not into bigger phones, then this is going to be a bit of a handful. I'm assuming the back here is plastic, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It actually feels pretty good. It actually kind of feels like frosted glass that you get on some more premium phones. And as you can see right here, you've got the 4 camera lenses, you got the 50-megapixel primary lens, the 5-megapixel ultra wide, and you've got a couple of 2-megapixel throwaway sensors as well. So looking around the edges of the phone, we can see on this side you've got your fingerprint reader / power button beneath the volume rocker, SD card and expandable storage slot, and lo and behold, an actual headphone jack, which isn't something that's entirely rare on phones of this price point, but definitely not something you will find anymore on most flagships. And finally, the stylus, which actually feels pretty good. It doesn't feel too cheap or too chintzy. We will try this out on the actual phone here in just a moment. So upon booting up, the first thing you might notice is the screen is flat. I do normally prefer a flat screen, so that's nice. There is a bit of bezel around the edges, but nothing too bad. It's mostly down here at the bottom. There is a bit of a chin on this, but everywhere else, bezels are not too offensive. The UI is pretty clean. I've messed around with the settings just a little bit, and obviously I will do more of that in the full review later, but it does not seem to have too heavy of a skin on it, which is nice, and it does appear to be running Android 12, which is also nice. Also pleasantly, there is not a ton of bloat. My S22 Ultra actually came preloaded with more apps than this. You do have Facebook and this MyScript calculator too, McAfee, which I don't think I'll use, but a lot of the stuff that is on here is stuff that you do actually need, like the Google Play Store, GPay, the camera app, so overall, not too bad. Okay, so something you probably can't tell just from watching this is not a high refresh rate screen. This is a 60 Hertz refreshing screen. So if you're looking for that buttery smooth experience with the higher refresh rate, you will not find that here. This doesn't really bother me. I can't really tell the difference, but a lot of people can. So if you're one of those people, that is a factor you will probably want to consider if you're thinking about this phone. Something that is cool about this phone is you can unlock both with your fingerprint and with your face. It has face unlock and it unlocks with the fingerprint sensor here on the side. And the side fingerprint sensor is very responsive, like it's almost instantaneous. So very impressed with that. Screen quality and brightness is more than adequate, and the speakers are actually quite impressive. The cameras seem to be able to take decent photos, at least in good light, and there are a decent amount of modes that you can play around with. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, let's go ahead and have a look at the stylus. So it does click to pull it out, as you see from like other phones with styluses like the Ultra. You do pull up a menu when the stylus is removed, which is also something you would expect. We'll try writing a note here. Wow, latency is actually really good. I mean, there's a little bit of a delay, but it's very small. Yeah, it's actually not bad at all. It feels very smooth. My first impression of the stylus here, I would say, is that it works very well. By clicking on this little pen-looking icon here on the lower part of the screen, you can actually bring the menu back up. You can magnify with things. You can use an e-signature feature. There's a GIF maker. You can activate split screen. So there actually seems to be a lot of functionality with this pen, with this phone. One of my favorite S Pen features with the S22 Ultra is the ability to write on a screenshot. So I'm assuming that's what this screenshot doodle does. I guess hit here. Oh, there you go. So it has that functionality here as well. It seems like there's a lot of similar functionality with this stylus as with the S Pen on the S22 Ultra, which is, once again, not to sound like a broken record, but for this price point, that's really cool. And something that's kind of cool that I noticed is when you go to put the pen back, it's actually magnetized. So if you start to push the pen in, once you get it to a certain point, it snaps back in for you. So that should definitely help keep the pen from falling out of the phone when you don't want it to. So what are my final first impressions of the TCL Stylus 5G? I would say they're pretty good. The phone can do a lot of the same things as the much more expensive 22 Ultra. Now, whether or not it can do all or even some of those things as well as the Ultra, well, that's going to take some time to figure out. So if you want to make sure you don't miss that upcoming full review, be sure to sub to the channel. I'm on it, okay? Well, that's all the useful information I have for one day. As always, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching, and until next time, this is Rando Tech Info, signing out.